Okay. Amazing. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. It's always a pleasure to have everyone together every month. So yes, let's start today. Of course, welcome to Atma webinars. As you know, I'm Vaishali, a lead consultant at Atma, and since 2007, Atma has been supporting NGOs through creating systems, building capacity, and we essentially try to solve organizational development issues. And the webinar series was started in 2017 so that we can create a platform where speakers like the ones today share their practical experiences and knowledge that can benefit all of us in the sector, right? And we try to cover various OD areas like HR, finance, fundraising, communications. And you can find all our past webinars on our YouTube channel. Do subscribe also so that you don't miss any videos that are uploaded there. I'm also going to share a link of the intermediary database, which is a verified list of individuals and organizations like ITHAS who offers various services that can help you with your organization. And they're all verified, which means that somebody at Atma team has sat and called each of them, had a detailed conversation, and also tried to take reviews from other NGOs who used their services. So do look at that database. It's quite useful. And yes, and about today, um, I think the number of times we hear our partners ask, right, कि मतलब social media use कैसे करें, post क्या करें, right? And there are so many platforms. What do we do? Thankfully, we have really amazing communication experts today who have a super practical and hands-on webinar planned. So we're hoping you'll also enjoy it. I will quickly introduce Megha and Piyali from ITHAS. So here you go. I think I'll start with you, Piyali. Meghna, I hope you're here. Think so, yeah. Uh, Great. So we have Piyali, who's an advisor at ITHAS, and she's an ISB alumna, and she's a seasoned strategist with over a decade in communications and business development. She excels in designing culturally resonant narratives that align with funder priorities, enhancing impact in sustainability and development sectors. She has a lot of experience across sectors as well. So welcome, Piyali. Um,
Thank you so much.
Great. And we have Meghna uh, from ITHAS, who's the co-founder of ITHAS.
Hi everyone, welcome here.
Hi.
Meghna has over 12 years of experience in global economic development and branding. She specializes in crafting authentic narratives that drive meaningful change. And her work spans organizations like Empire State Development and Kotak Mahindra Bank, amongst many, many. It was very long to list here. And she does blend strategic insight with creative storytelling. And that is what they're hoping to share with you today. A request to all the audience members that please add your questions in the chat box as and when they come to you, and we will take them up towards the end so that the flow is maintained of the webinar. But be sure that we will get all the answers, all the questions answered. Yeah. Those who've been here before know that we do make sure that happens. Apart from that, just क्योंकि हमारे अलग अलग जगह से ज्वाइन किए हैं, तो हम शायद हिंदी में ये वेबिनार नहीं कर पाएंगे, मतलब या फिर सिर्फ हम इंग्लिश में रख पाएंगे. तो आपको अगर कोई भी सवाल अगर हिंदी में पूछना है तो जरूर पूछ सकते हैं. अगर आपको कोई क्लैरिफिकेशन चाहिए कोई पॉइंट के लिए तो आप पूछ सकते हैं चैट बॉक्स में. हमारे स्पीकर्स हिंदी बोल सकते हैं तो वो भी बोल सकते हैं, और आत्मा की टीम से मैं और बेटा हैं, हम भी आपको चैट बॉक्स में हेल्प कर सकते हैं. बट फॉर मतलब सभी के, I mean, like this is the common unifying language we have so far. So the webinar will predominantly be in English. Right. So yes, with this, over to you, Meghna and Piyali, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much, Vaishali. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm really, really glad to see that, so many registrations happened for this session. And 40 of you have joined in, and many are still joining for the session. So we are very excited to facilitate this session, and we are also hoping that throughout this session you stay through very engaged. You ask all your questions, and we will be able to respond to all the questions. Right. That's the aim and objective. So, with that being said, I'll just quickly set a brief context of this session. As you know, Atma has been sharing about this session for quite some time now, and we saw a lot of overwhelming response. Many people signed up. बहुत सारे लोगों ने sign up किया इस session के लिए. So welcome to Platform Smart Storytelling. So in this session, we will decode कि Platform Smart Storytelling होती क्या है, what exactly that is, and how do we suit our messages for different platforms, whether it is LinkedIn, या Instagram हो या websites हो. How do we make our content and narrative very suitable to different platforms? That's the overall session. But before I actually start with this session, I'd like to give a little bit of introduction about myself. I know Vaishali has given an overview of my journey, but it'll be helpful to tell you a little about um, behind the journey, behind the scenes of my decade and a half years of experience. So I have over a decade and a half years of experience in the impact sector. All throughout, I've been in the impact sector. In this decade and a half, I have been very fortunate. I've been to work with different organizations. I've worked with various nonprofits on the ground. So grassroots implementation काम I have seen, the work I've seen, as well as I've been very fortunate to see the funder side of the story also. So I've had the opportunity to work with different foundations, चाहे वो global foundations हो, domestic foundations हो, or to even see how CSRs really think when they start to fund different sectors and thematic areas, right? So I've had that opportunity, and I can tell you that on the ground, I see great work happening throughout different organizations, different states. They're doing some really incredible job, incredible work where it actually matters, which is on the ground, right? However, unfortunately, it pains me to say that sometimes that often these stories and these stories of impact either do not reach the right audience, or they are not communicated using the right platform, which is why when I came across my co-founder and also a good friend Meghna start this organization ITHAS with a very strong purpose to work with mission driven organization to scale their stories. I joined in, I came in as an advisor on this organization. So that is a little about my story and how much I resonate with the story of ITHAS. And I'm really looking forward to this session. So I'd also like Meghna to come in and talk a little about what we do at ITHAS before we get started.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Meghna, and I'm the founder of ITHAS. And as Piyali rightly said, that the ground impact is there, but it's not visible online or on the platforms or to the public. So I'm the founder of ITHAS, and ITHAS stands for I too have a story, जो कि एक हमारा कोर बिलीफ है कि हम सबके पास कुछ ना कुछ कहानियां तो है. तो इथास एक वुमेन लेड इम्पैक्ट ड्रिवन ब्रांडिंग एंड कम्युनिकेशन कंसल्टिंग कंपनी है और हम आप जैसे मिशन ड्रिवन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को एम्पावर करते हैं टू गेट क्लोजर टू योर कम्युनिटी, आपके स्टेक होल्डर्स, एंड टू मेक यू फाइंडेबल फॉर फंडर्स. एंड हाउ वी डू इट, वी हेल्प यू कम्युनिकेट योर कोहेसिव नैरेटिव. आपका जो ऑन ग्राउंड इम्पैक्ट है वो हम आपका विजुअली एंड वर्बली रीचिंग आउट टू राइट पीपल इन द राइट वे ऑन द राइट प्लेटफॉर्म्स. So that's what we do here in ITHAS. We'll tell you more about what is platform-specific storytelling in the coming session. So I'll hand it over to Piyali to take it forward. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Meghna, for the wonderful introduction. So let's get started. I think Jesse Vaishali was saying that this session is going to be very engaging. And for the success of this session, right, we want it to be a two-way session, right, where we are able to hear your thoughts as well as we're able to bring in our experience, our insights into this discussion, into this session. So the way we would like you to start off this session is by thinking about one organization, apart from your organization, of course, which other non-profits work you really like. So if you could just put it in the chat, if any other organization, any other not-for-profits work you really, really like, if you can just message in the chat, it will be really helpful for us to know. Okay. I see Seva. Okay. India Development Review, Saanche Sapne, Jagori. Okay. I see some responses coming in. Dasra. Okay. Seva is Seva Pyramid Foundation, Selco.
Selco, yeah.
Yeah. I have had the opportunity to work with Selco, Seva, Pyramid in some way. So yeah. IDR, of course. IDR is very well known for the kind of narratives that they bring. Yeah. Azim Premji. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. That is wonderful to know. My one question is, follow-up question, ki, what about these organizations? इनके काम के बारे में what do you like? What about these organizations? क्यों पसंद है आपको? Like these organizations you mentioned, these are great organizations. Why do you like these organizations? Okay. There is a lot of human aspect where I see that Ashika ji is mentioning that there's a human interest or human aspect of storytelling. Their outreach efforts are really good. Yeah. Brand name, of course. Branding is there. Dipshika is saying that there is branding and the use of design. And there's consistency in the way they tell the stories, right? There's a lot of consistency in doing that. Yeah, the Poruma says that there is stories and grassroots work in our design. Yeah. I really like this point also, Satish ji saying that they do a lot of groundwork. All these organizations are very rooted to the ground and they work as per the needs of the ground, right? As per the needs of the society. Very well said. I think these are all very, very valid point. It's also important to understand that all of you are able to say that they do great work, they have consistency in storytelling, branding acha karte, because we have seen their work in some platform or the other. It could be either in their website, it could be either in the annual reports or the newsletters they print, or it could be seeing their impact reports or LinkedIn mein the way they connect with the audiences. So that's the idea of that's the idea that we're trying to build today, that great work is being done by organizations, but there is a need for us to leverage these platforms to tell our stories so that it can reach the right audience. With that being said, I'll quickly move on to some of the expectations that you shared. So when you registered for this session, आपसे ये सवाल पूछा गया था कि आपके expectations क्या है session से? What are the expectations? Many of you said that you want to two, three things that emerged the most was storytelling. How to do storytelling, and many of you wanted to understand just an exploratory session. You wanted to attend this session to understand how this works exactly. Similarly, many of you wanted to learn and build your own internal capacity. So that's the idea. This is what we will exactly help you do in the next couple of hours. So with that, I'll quickly go to the objectives of this session. There are three key objectives. आज के सेशन में there are मूल रूप से हम तीन उद्देश्य पे फोकस करेंगे. One is how different platforms demand different storytelling style. So चाहे वो LinkedIn हो गया, वेबसाइट हो गया या फिर Instagram, every platform demands a different storytelling format type, and it is suited to different kinds of audience. So we will understand what that is. We will also give you certain tips on how to do NGO specific storytelling. How do you connect to your audience? And then we will, at the end of the session, give you some toolkits and some ready-made content calendar so that you can get to know कि आपको content किस तरीके से approach करना चाहिए. We will also have a lot of activity so that the platform smart storytelling, how exactly to do that exercise will really help you build that skill as well. Okay, so before I move on, what I'd like to do is now share a couple of examples. let's try and diagnose some of the problems that multiple not-for-profits face today when they use social media. So we will see some examples, and you have to tell me on the chat what is it that you observe. So the first example scenario is this. So there is a mission-driven organization. This was a not-for-profit that completed a training program फॉर यंग गर्ल्स. उन्होंने यंग गर्ल्स की ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम कंप्लीट की और इन्होंने ये मैसेज सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे पोस्ट किया. सो दिस इज द मैसेज दैट दे हैव पोस्टेड ऑन लिंक्डइन, on Instagram, on newsletter, and on their website. So take a look at this message and tell me, what do you observe? You can raise your hand also if you want to share. I will I will unmute you and ask you to share your thoughts. Okay. Text heavy, not highlighting. Anybody who would like to share? Be on speaker and share this.
I think
Ma'am,
Elena.
yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. For me, the organization have highlighted all the program what they have done, but they have not prioritized the improvement that have taken place due to the program.
Okay. The improvement, okay, that's a great point. Ki they've spoken about program ne kiya kya hai, but what was the real impact? They haven't spoken. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
There is a lot of text.
There is a lot of text. Very well
Hello.
said. Well said. Yeah, I can hear you, sir. I can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you, sir.
You can hear.
Yeah.
There is a lot of text on these posts, and
There is a lot of
probably
text.
people do not have that amount of time and patience to go through this. So there should be one single liner or two, a very small text which should convey the meaning.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. I also see Nisha ji from Bright Future has raised her hand. Nisha ji, would you like to share?
Hi. Yeah. So, what also I feel like the same messages across all platform, which I feel maybe like we can target depending on the platform. So, for example, like Instagram is more towards like youth oriented or like youth centric. So, if same post, but if we can see the format how we want to present, so I think that is something I noticed.
करेक्ट. सो वेरी वेल सेड निशा जी. आपने तो हमारा सेशन एकदम बहुत ही ब्रीफ में खत्म कर दिया, बट आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी वैलिड पॉइंट एज यू सेड निशा जी. Yes, so that is one of the things, that couple of very valid points, right? One is that this is too much text, but it could be that for a newsletter you might have to put a little bit text, but for LinkedIn and Instagram you may not put as much text. So just as Nisha ji has very rightly summarized, that the same text is being used everywhere, as we can see, right? It's being used in LinkedIn, it's being used in Instagram, newsletter maybe wahi text ho raha hai, and then website also the same content is being posted. So that's what this problem is. Let's see another two examples, right? The second example is, this is a not-for-profit which has sent a newsletter to its investors. Let's take a look at this and let's try to decode what could be the problem with this second example. It's a little tricky, but do raise your hand. Not as tricky though if you think of the audience.
Sorry, can you repeat it again? Like, what do we have to do?
Okay, the same thing. इसमें same problem. We have to try and decode the problem in example number 2. So this is a not for profit जिन्होंने newsletter share किया है अपने investors या funders के साथ, और ये newsletter ऐसे are monthly updates. That's it. And then read full report का link है. So that's how they have shared it. Do you see any problem in this? You can raise your hand if you have ideas. We will give you an opportunity to share your thoughts. Ashika ji, you have a very good point on consistency around all platforms. I will get to that. We will get to that a little later. Definitely point noted. Okay. Think about, let me give you a hint. Think about the audience here. Your audience are funders. Generally, they're very busy. So from that perspective, any clue, any hint that comes out?
I would like to add
Yes.
something.
Yeah, Brinda.
So, like you mentioned that a lot of our audience is, funders and, partners, allies, or like-minded organizations. So just giving this like one-liner and like a four-pager report PDF might not really make them open the link. And instead, if we could highlight the most significant points in the caption itself and maybe make the caption a little bit more intriguing, maybe putting in some graphical content in it along with it, and also putting hashtags, which because that definitely boosts the reach of the audience. Like these few points coming on top of my head.
Yeah. Absolutely. Very well said. Exactly hit the nail, right where it needs to be hit. So this, your funders are very busy, very busy people. So they may not have the time or the intention to read a full page report. Sometimes these are not even 4 page, multiple pages, right? You have so much to tell. So just sharing some key highlights before you share a report is a good practice. But this is the problem here. Let's quickly move to the third example. I'll just give a couple of seconds, and here, if anybody wants to quickly go ahead and share, that'll be helpful. This is again an Instagram post that was shared by an NGO in their Instagram channel. Just a couple of seconds, and then we will move on. To general, right? Yeah, Sahana, I see. And I think I saw in chat, Naresh, you also mentioned that newsletter text is not attention gathering. Yeah, spellings, of course. You can't be making spelling issues. Yeah. Okay. So in the I see that a lot of valid points have come in. In the interest of time, I'll also tell you what this is, right? There's a lot of text. Again, thinking about the audience, there's a lot of text and information that is being given without any kind of story being told, right? Without any kind of connect with the audience. So this is not what Instagram posts should typically look like. So just to summarize everything that we discussed, some of the key problems we have seen many not-for-profits and many organizations, not just NGOs, many starting organizations do repeatedly are these 4 problems, right? First is the copy-paste syndrome. We have one content, one good story. Let me just post it exactly the same in all the platforms. So that is something we do. The second is overloaded newsletter, and there is no story to that, right? As Vrinda mentioned, that we share our newsletters, but there is literally no key highlights in those newsletters. That's also a problem. We have seen a lot of not-for-profits repeat over and over. Then the thing is around third problem is around too much data in different platforms are being used, but there's not a story, a human story, or otherwise also. It doesn't always have to be a human story, but there is no narrative around that number or the data. And then finally, we have generic posts on platforms like LinkedIn. So these are the 4 key problems that a lot of not-for-profits face today. So we've seen some problems, and we saw, some examples of what these problems look like actually. Let's see some other examples now and see what are these 2 organizations doing right. Okay, I will give you the first example. Let's look at the first one. This is left hand side. This is a post done by Teach for India. What do you let's look at only the Teach for India's post, then I'll talk about the next one. What do you like, or what do you think this post is doing right? This is an actual post that Teach for India posted on Teachers Day, in the LinkedIn page. Would
I
any
think the information is evenly spaced. It's easy to read.
Yeah, the information is easy, evenly spaced, and it's very easy to read. What else, Paroma?
Yeah, so it's easy to read. It's got possibility of interaction. So have a story, share it using this hashtag. It's got hashtags, and it's got a 2 minute long video, which is it allows you to interact quickly also.
Yes, absolutely well said. Anybody else who would like to? Okay.
It also involves the person who is seeing this post, because it says that anybody who wants to have a story to tell, then he can do it. So that's it generates more interest kind of thing.
Yes. Absolutely well said, right? There are three couple of things that this post is doing very well. One is the even spacing, how the content is very well spaced and it's very easy to read for the audience, also not cluttered. The second, as Parma said, is that they've used the right hashtags, which will resonate with a lot of audience. And the third thing is they have used some form of connection, personal connection. It doesn't always have to be a video, but it can be some form of personal connection. So the moment you see an actual face, an audience, you are resonated with it. And then finally, as Pamecha sir said, or Eki sir said, that it's got a very clear call to action, right? Which is, if you have a story, it is engaging the audience to tell their story. It's urging them to do so. So it's very well posted and very well, decoded. All of you have decoded this really well. Let's go to the next one. This is a post. It's actually a page that I took from Pratham's annual report. Okay. Let's see what they are trying to say over here. It's one page which I've took. The report is very long, but one page that I took from Pratham's annual report. What do you see is being done well over here? You can also put it on chat. Okay. Segregation is done. Naresh ji says it's segregation. Yeah, I agree. Segregation is being done quite well. Message is easy to read, no heavy jargons, and to the point. Yeah. And I think, Dr. Shreya, you've said it really well, that from just this page, just reading this page, as as a funder, I will be very clear of what is the work that they do and how do they do it. So very, very clearly articulated. And just reading this one page, I'm able to get an overview of their work. So they have done this very well. The report might be 120 pages long, 100 pages long, but just to know what are they doing, I'm able to understand this by reading just one page. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tejashree ji, Bonnie ji. Thank you so much. Yes. And also, Bonnie Bashak says that the pictures they've used, they are very much attractive as well. Like these are in all likelihood real pictures of what Pratham does. Okay. So we've now seen that these are all the best practices, good examples, and we have also seen non-examples. But let's try to get to the details of what exactly is platform smart storytelling and how do we do this, right? हमने देख तो लिया, but अब इसको समझते हैं कि करना कैसे है? How do we do this in action? So I'll just hand it over to Meghna with this. Meghna, over to you.
Yeah. All right. So we'll next slide, Piyali. Yeah. So we'll start with what is platform specific storytelling. It is adapting your story to the message based on the platform language, tone, format, and user behavior. And it's not about like building multiple stories for different platforms, but it is about taking your core story and then translating it for the audience of that particular platform. और ये क्यों मैटर करता है मिशन ड्रिवन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के लिए, क्योंकि अगर हम विल कॉपी पेस्ट द कंटेंट, इट विल बी वेरी रिडंडेंट एंड गिव लो एंगेजमेंट. Nobody will read it. If somebody has read it already on LinkedIn, they will not read the same post again on Instagram. And then every platform has its own identity. and always tailored message, always connect deeper with the audience. So that's why you should engage in platform smart storytelling. Now we'll go to platforms one by one. Today we are focusing on 4 platforms. We recommend these platforms to mission driven organizations, and anyway you must be using these platforms already. So we have 4 platforms here: LinkedIn, Instagram, newsletter or report, and then it's your website. So let's start with LinkedIn. So why LinkedIn is useful? LinkedIn is useful because it builds your credibility and your network. आपका जैसे डिजिटल बोर्ड रूम इमेजिन कर लीजिए, जहां पे आपके फंडर्स भी हैं, पार्टनर्स भी हैं, सीएसआर हेड्स भी हैं, आपके पीयर्स भी हैं. एवरीबडी इज देयर, बट दे आर लुकिंग फॉर व्हाट? दे आर लुकिंग फॉर योर क्रेडिबल वर्क, योर थॉट लीडरशिप एंड द प्रूफ ऑफ इम्पैक्ट. कि आपने इम्पैक्ट किया है, इसका प्रूफ क्या है? दैट इज व्हाट दे आर लुकिंग ऑन इन लिंक्डइन. तो यहाँ पे आपकी टोन क्या होनी चाहिए? इट शुड बी प्रोफेशनल, बट इट शुड ऑल्सो बी रिफ्लेक्टिव. आप ये ना बताएं कि आपने सिर्फ क्या किया है, आप ये बताइए कि आप ये ने जो ये किया है उससे क्या होगा, व्हाई इट मैटर्स. सो दैट इज हाउ लिंक्डइन वर्क्स. यहाँ पे आप क्या शेयर कर सकते हैं? यहाँ पे आप थॉट लीडरशिप शेयर कर सकते हैं, अपने लेसन्स आपने जो लर्न किए हैं एज एन एनजीओ, एज एन मिशन ड्रिवन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, या फिर आपका कोई प्रोग्राम था जिससे आपने कुछ इंसाइट्स कलेक्ट करी है, वो आप यहाँ पे शेयर करें. आप यहाँ पे सेक्टर स्पेसिफिक रेलेवेंट इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करें. दिस द टोन शुड बी प्रोफेशनल, reiterating it, but it should be reflective. What I see most of the mission driven organizations on LinkedIn, what they are doing is they are posting the information as it is. कि हमने ये ट्रेनिंग कराई, बस दिस इज द इंफॉर्मेशन. उससे क्या हुआ? दैट इज व्हाट यू नीड टू टेल ऑन लिंक्डइन. Now I'll give you one example of how LinkedIn will look. We'll using the same example. एक mission driven organization है, training program करवाया है young girls को, and this is the message they have posted. Yes. So if you see this message, what do you think is working in this message? Yes, Paruma, please say.
So I think what's working is that they've said we invest one powerful takeaway. So what they've got out of the training, and also the fact that they've thanked their partner and probably tagged the partner. So yeah.
Okay. Piyali, can you click it? So these are the things which are right in this example. I'll tell you why. Because if you write this, scaling confidence in rural Rajasthan, it already automatically gives reader that it is a growth oriented impact initiative. और टाइटल पढ़ते ही किसी को इंटरेस्ट आ गया इसके अंदर. एंड देन दे हैव गिवन द टोन which is insightful, which is reflective, and it is focusing on क्या हुआ, किसके साथ हुआ, और उसकी डीपर इंसाइट क्या है. जैसे आप यहाँ पे देखेंगे, वन पावरफुल टेक अवे इन्होंने बोला है, व्हेन वी इन्वेस्ट इन सेल्फ बिलीफ, चेंज बिगिंस. सो दे हैव गिवन वन इंसाइट saying that what happened after they did the training, and they have explained what was the training about, and how many girls were trained, and how many days were there. Then they have also tagged their partner. For if there is a partner, you need to tag the partner and use the right hashtags. So that's what they have done here. Okay, so we move to next, which is Instagram. तो Instagram आप लोग सब जानते हैं, Instagram is used by new age people these days, and that's what Instagram is about. Instagram is about sparking emotion and visibility. ये आपका एक इमोशनल इंजन है जहां पे आप अपने हार्ट से कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं आपकी ऑडियंस से. और आपकी ऑडियंस यहाँ कोई भी हो सकती है, या पब्लिक हो सकती है, वॉलंटियर्स हो सकते हैं, जनरल सपोर्टर्स हो सकते हैं. मोस्टली फंडर्स, डोनर्स यहाँ पे नहीं होते. तो इधर वी कैन बी वेरी रॉ, वेरी ऑथेंटिक, वेरी ह्यूमन. तो यहाँ पे विजुअल स्टोरी टेलिंग रूल करती है. आप यहाँ पे रील शेयर करें, यहाँ पे आप अपने बिहाइंड द सीन मोमेंट शेयर करें अपने एनजीओ से, छोटे छोटे कोट्स शेयर करें आपके सेक्टर्स को लेके. और यहाँ पे अगर आप ह्यूमन फेसेस अगर ज्यादा शेयर करेंगे तो इट विल मेक मोर इम्पैक्ट, मोर एंगेजमेंट. यहाँ पे आप इनफॉर्मल टोन यूज कर सकते हैं, इमोजीज यूज कर सकते हैं, एकदम रियल रॉ. यहाँ पे जितना रहेंगे, ऑथेंटिक रहेंगे, चैलेंजेस बताएंगे अपने, उतना पीपल विल कनेक्ट मोर विद यू. what I see on Instagram for mission-driven organization is that sometimes mission-driven organizations only post about their news and programs, which is great. It is a great place to post your news and programs, but it shouldn't be only content you'll be posting. Post about your team, post about your volunteers, what they do, what they like about your organization. So we'll see one example here, same example, how we have translated in Instagram. So what do you like about this example on Instagram? Just drop me a text on chat, like one word, like what do you like about when you see it? Tagline and natural visual, right? Visual catchy, right? Okay. Piyali, click करना. So yeah, so good communication, correct. So once when you see this photo and the title, you automatically stop. You see that there is a great title which is 40 girls, 3 days, and lot of dreams unlocked. So it creates curiosity, and the photo, the visuals which are here, it's very human, very authentic. So it helps you read what it is. But then Instagram, you don't need to write whole complete detail about your program here because the attention span of people are limited here. So if you see the caption is very concise and short. It says what they have done, and they are proud of the girls, and then they have tagged their organization which have supported them. So here you can be very sincere. You can do emojis in informal structure and then gratitude tags at the end of it. So yes, that is about Instagram. Next, we move to newsletter. Okay, so we have seen a bad example of newsletter and then a good example of Pratham. Now we'll see why newsletter is important. So newsletter आपसे कोई कभी तभी लेगा जब भी आपको बोलेगा कि I want to hear from you more. Nobody will new person don't take your newsletter. It is majorly for deepening your relationship. तो आप उनको वो दे जिनसे वो वहां पे आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ स्टे करें. जैसे आपकी टोन बहुत वार्म होनी चाहिए, आपकी स्टोरी टेलिंग बहुत ही डायरेक्ट होनी चाहिए, आपके हाइलाइट्स होने चाहिए, क्लियर सीटीए होने चाहिए कि आप उनको पढ़ने के बाद क्या करना चाहते हैं. डू यू वांट देम टू डोनेट, डू यू वांट देम टू गिव फीडबैक, व्हाटएवर इट इज, यू गिव अ सीटीए देयर. एंड आप चाहें तो उसको सेगमेंट भी कर सकते हैं कि आप ये न्यूज़लेटर किसको भेजेंगे. आप डोनर्स को भेजेंगे, अपने वॉलंटियर्स को भेजेंगे, अपने पार्टनर्स को भेजेंगे, उसके हिसाब से आप थोड़ा सा कंटेंट चेंज कर सकते हैं अपना. एंड ये ऐसी जगह है जहां पे आप अपना लॉन्ग टर्म एंगेजमेंट नर्चर कर सकते हैं. सो yeah, Veda, thank you so much. CTA is call to action. I'll explain what it is. So let's go to next slide. Yeah. Sorry. So this is the example of a newsletter. Can you tell me what is working here? Sorry, anybody? Easily followable bullet points. Very good. Nice visual. Abstract of the newsletter. Okay. 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 Let's go deep into it. Why it works. तो अगर आप डोनर हैं, आप फंडर हैं और आपके पास ये न्यूज़लेटर आता है, तो आपने टाइटल पढ़ा, see your support in action. What will you think? Oh, my support is utilizing somewhere. Let me check where it is utilizing. And then you go into the newsletter. जब आप इसकी की हाइलाइट्स देखेंगे तो आप देखेंगे कि बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक दे हैव मेंशन्ड एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, कम्युनिटी. तो कोई भी जना जिसका भी इंटरेस्ट एजुकेशन में है वो एजुकेशन में चला जाएगा, जिसका हेल्थ में है वो हेल्थ में चला जाएगा, कम्युनिटी में चला जाएगा. यहाँ पे इनका सीटीए है रीड द फुल रिपोर्ट. तो यहाँ से आप अपनी रिपोर्ट को पूरा पढ़ सकते हैं और फिर आपका इंटरेस्ट है तो आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. बट द पॉइंट इज दैट इट शुड even the hook, even the subject of the newsletter should be engaging to who you are sending those newsletter. So always think कि अगर मैं फंडर होता या अगर मैं डोनर होता, क्या मैं ये न्यूज़लेटर खोलता? तो उस हिसाब से अगर आप या खोलती तो आप सोचेंगे इस बारे में, एंड देन यू मेक द हुक पॉइंट ऑफ इट एंड कीप इट वेरी सिंपल. लाइक आप यहाँ पे देखेंगे कितना सिंपल न्यूज़लेटर है ये. यहाँ पे कोई भी क्लटर नहीं है, एंड एवरीथिंग इज इन बुलेट्स, व्हिच वाज राइटली सेड इन द चैट. So that's about it. Okay, we move on to the next platform, which is your website. तो वेबसाइट इज लाइक योर होम. आपका घर है वेबसाइट. वेबसाइट में कोई भी आ सकता है. आपके फंडर भी आ सकते हैं, आपके वॉलंटियर्स भी आ सकते हैं, मीडिया भी आ सकती है. एवरीबडी कैन कम हियर ऑन वेबसाइट. तो वेबसाइट का जो टोन होना चाहिए वो ट्रस्ट बिल्डिंग होना चाहिए, और एक एक्सेसिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए वेबसाइट पे. कि अगर मान लीजिए कि अगर आपके किसी फंडर को या पार्टनर को आपका थ्योरी ऑफ चेंज देखना है, तो और वो आपकी वेबसाइट पे नहीं है, so it creates a confusion that where is your theory of change or where is your narrative which connects your vision and mission. So यहाँ पे आप cluttered ना हो, clear हो, ये ध्यान रखेंगे. यहाँ पे आप क्या पोस्ट कर सकते हैं वो है आपकी की हाइलाइट्स, आपकी इम्पैक्ट स्टोरीज, आपकी केस स्टडीज. आपका आउटलेट एकदम क्लीन रखें. और बहुत जगह मैंने नोटिस किया है दैट मिशन ड्रिवन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, देयर वेबसाइट इज नॉट मोबाइल फ्रेंडली. So please keep in mind that if your website is mobile friendly or not, because आजकल किसी के पास समय नहीं है कि लैपटॉप निकालें और फिर हम वेबसाइट देखें. तो सब लोग मोबाइल में ही खोल लेते हैं. तो मोबाइल पे अगर क्लियरली दिख रहा होगा सब कुछ तो दैट विल बी ग्रेट. और हमेशा वेबसाइट में ध्यान रखें कि आपका सीटीए बहुत ही सिंपल और एसईओ फ्रेंडली होना चाहिए. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि कोई भी आपकी वेबसाइट पे डोनेट करे, मेक दैट सीटीए विजिबल एंड मेक दैट सीटीए क्लियर. तो अभी पहले तो ये होता था कि एसईओ आप ध्यान रखेंगे अपनी वेबसाइट के लिए तो वेल एंड गुड, बट अभी गूगल एआई आ गया है. तो आप जब भी कोई चीज टाइप करते हैं तो आप देखते हैं कि एआई एक पैराग्राफ बना के देता है, एंड देन उसके बाद सारे रिजल्ट्स आते हैं. तो आजकल एसईओ इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं रह गया है जितना ओमनी प्रेजेंट ऑफ योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है. अगर आप सारी जगह प्रेजेंट होंगे तो एआई विल ऑटोमेटिकली पिक योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड गिव द रिजल्ट्स इन दैट सेंस. बट स्टिल आपको कुछ कुछ चीजों का ध्यान रखना है. एसईओ इज सर्च इंजन ऑप्टिमाइजेशन. आई विल टेल यू व्हाट इट इज. आप वही वर्ड्स यूज करें जो वर्ड्स के लिए आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का सेक्टर है, आप चाहते हैं और आप कर रहे हैं. मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल से बताती हूँ. प्याली जाना नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल. या तो ये वो सही सेम ही एग्जाम्पल है. यहाँ पर इन्होंने एक प्रोग्राम अपनी वेबसाइट पे डाल दिया है. अब आप इसका टाइटल देखेंगे तो इट सेज एम्पावरिंग गर्ल्स थ्रू लाइफ स्किल्स, 3-day वर्कशॉप इन रूरल राजस्थान. तो वेरी क्लियर एसईओ फ्रेंडली कि अगर कोई वर्कशॉप हुई है तो आपने मेंशन कर दिया है वहां पे, किसको एम्पावर किया है वो भी मेंशन कर दिया है. एक बहुत ही ब्रीफ पैराग्राफ है यहाँ पर. एंड देन वाई इन्होंने व्हाट, व्हेन, वाई एंड वेयर, ये सारी चीजों का मेंशन किया है यहाँ पे. और एक पर्सनल कोड भी डाल दिया है ताकि ये बहुत ही एक्सेसिबल और ट्रस्टवर्दी लगे. ये बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है एक वेबसाइट पे आपकी प्रोग्राम्स की डिटेल डालने का. प्लीज क्लिक प्याली. या ओके. So that's about the platforms we have gone through today. 4 platforms. Can you tell me in the chat like which platform you think is your strength and your weakness? Sorry. Okay. So some people have said Facebook, some has said LinkedIn, weakness is Instagram, some has said Instagram is strength. So what we have done is that we have gone through all the platforms for you, and here we have made a small table where we have explained everything, do's and don'ts. So जब भी आप अपना content बना रहे होंगे, you can open this table, you can see what is working, if your content is working or not. So just to summarize everything, लिंक्डइन पे आप प्रोफेशनल और रिफ्लेक्टिव रहेंगे बट प्रीची बिल्कुल भी नहीं होंगे. इंस्टाग्राम पे बी ह्यूमन बट नॉट कॉर्पोरेट. On newsletter pay up, be warm, but don't be robotic in newsletter. And then website pay, always remember to be clear and not be cluttered. And then you have to tailor your tone, format, and call to action for each platform. कि आप क्या करवाना चाहते हैं audience से. Okay. Okay. So ये सब प्लेटफॉर्म्स के बारे में आपने सुन लिया एंड देन यू वर लाइक कि हाउ टू मेक कंटेंट व्हेन वी हैव लिमिटेड टीम्स, वी आर द ओनली पीपल वर्किंग हियर, व्हाट शुड वी डू. So we will tell you how to smartly repurpose your one story for all the platforms. So I'll hand it over to Piyali. Piyali will explain you how to smartly repurpose your stories.
Thank you so much, Meghna. I think that was a wonderful section of you taking us through each of the platforms and then telling us how exactly, each platform's expectation is and how do we meet that. As you rightly said, कि एक key question जो आप सबके मन में आ रहा होगा, that I am the only person doing this in my team, and how do we do this, right? Do I have to create content every single day and then make it for Instagram, make it for LinkedIn, make it for newsletter and website? That's not the objective, right? Your objective is how do I do smart repurposing, as Meghna mentioned. So smart repurposing matlab, we will have to use this framework. Take the right story, identify the right purpose, किस purpose के लिए हम उसको use कर रहे हैं, what is the purpose of that story, and then what is the right platform to create the maximum impact. Here, what we mean by impact is basically reaching the maximum audience who you are writing this for, and also having a lot more engagement with those audience, right? So that's how we're defining it. So let's take a look at a 5-step framework of how to do this exactly. So there are 5 steps to this. And we will also give an example of how to do this step by step also. But let me first take you through the step-by-step process as to how to do this. The first step, as I said, is start with a core story, or a story can be a common story, right? So any powerful story from your work. In the case of the NGO that we saw, they had done a workshop for teenage girls, right? Where they had done the workshop. So that could be one powerful story, and they start off with. Your story should either feature a person, a place, or a moment of change, right? Something that changed for a person or something, right? It could even be for a founder also. As a founder, you had some reflection and a moment of change. That is also something you can start with. But ideally, it has to be with the NGO's impact. So NGO ke stakeholders, either who you are impacting, or it could be you can start off with that. The second step is to identify the purpose and the audience. So आप किसके लिए ये story share करना चाह रहे हैं, and what is the primary communication goal for this story you have to identify. क्या ये awareness है? Are you trying to create some form of awareness? Are you trying to create some form of engagement? Are you trying to fundraise? Are you trying to create thought leadership? Or are you trying to do a lot of advocacy? So depending on this, we will see which platform is going to be most suitable. Then choose a platform as per the following table, right? So in the next slide, we will see that जो भी आपका purpose होगा, उसके related कौन सा platform is suitable for it. Then step 4 is for that platform. मान लीजिए वो LinkedIn हो और Instagram हो वो platform. How do I change my story to suit the audience of that platform, right? So I'm going to customize the story format, the tone, the visual style, and the call to action, CTA, as per the platform logic. And this is very, very important because these days, algorithm and search engine optimization works in such a manner that some kind of stories and some kind of keywords get very quickly picked up by the algorithm. So just these step 3 and step 4 is very, very important. So be mindful of that. And once you have customized your story, you've put it in the platform, whether it is LinkedIn, Instagram, or your website or your newsletter also, make sure you're measuring and learning from the story. So you have to track your performance. In Instagram, it is what is the views, how many likes your content is receiving, whether this is getting shared or not. In LinkedIn, how many people are liking, commenting. All of that analysis is actually today very readily available. You don't even have to go and get other people to do this for yourself. Similarly, for website and newsletter, there are different tools that you can just install, and that tells you how many people opened your email, how many people actually clicked through your newsletter. So it's very important to measure that. Talking about step 3, which is identifying ki mera audience, which platform I should go with, right? This step 3. So this is the table you should follow. I should go with LinkedIn platform if I want to build trust and credibility with my audience. What kind of audience? Professionals, donors, and partners. And if I want to build thought leaderships, insights, and partner stories. इसके लिए LinkedIn is the most suitable. Any kind of thought leadership, any kind of insights, any kind of stories I want to share, I have to use LinkedIn, so that because my audience is mostly professionals and donors and partners. On Instagram, I want to use this to tell more human stories, visual storytelling, and behind the scenes, right? Behind the scenes, as Meghna was saying, कि आपने फाउंडर की स्टोरी डाल दी, आपने अपने वॉलंटियर्स की स्टोरी डाल दी, और जस्ट आप how does a day in your organization look like? As simple as that, right? Behind the scenes. So this is going to build that emotion and visibility. Newsletter, again, it can be shared with all stakeholders, but specifically for your funders and donors, you should make sure that you are using a more professional tone to this. So donor updates ke liye, community voices and impact stories share karne ke liye. And lastly, for website, you should have, like, the main team is this website should be for the program teams, right? And testimonials. I'll take a pause over here and let you just soak in the information a couple of seconds. And if there are any questions, please feel free to put it on the chat also. We will very quickly go and address these as well in the next couple of minutes. Vrinda, very good question. We will definitely address your question as well. Okay, let's take an actual example and see ye kaise karna hai. So Rani is a domestic. Let me take an example. Rani is a domestic worker in Bangalore. She recently joined a literacy program, digital literacy program that was run by your NGO, Assume. Within 3 months, Rani was helping others in her community sign up for this, digital literacy program and attend telehealth consultations also. You as an NGO want to share her story with your professional LinkedIn audience. This is a great story of impact, right? Now, how do you start this, right? The core story is of Rani. Rani ki core story kya hai? First step is Rani's transformation. It's a very powerful example of small impact leading to ripple effect. So that's the story I'm starting with. Then I'm saying that identify the purpose. Here, my purpose is because Rani has had great impact, I want to share it with my LinkedIn audience. I want to share it with my professional community. I want my funders and donors and other professionals to see the story. So I'm going to select LinkedIn for this, right? My purpose is to do a lot of thought leadership and credibility building, which is why I'm going to go ahead with LinkedIn, since that builds the professional tone and it also builds that credibility. Lastly, I'm going to change the story for the LinkedIn format, right? I'm going to write it in such a manner that it starts with a hook, shares insight, and invites dialogue. The 3 things. So this is how I'm going to follow the step by step. सबसे पहले story से start करेंगे. It can be very basic story. Then purpose identify करेंगे कि मुझे किस audience के लिए लिखना है. क्या मुझे credibility build करनी है? क्या मुझे बस ऐसे ही share करना है just to build that emotional connect? क्या मुझे thought leadership build करनी है? उसके basis पे I will select the platform and then I will adapt the story. Let's take a look at this example, right? This is Rani that we're talking about. And it starts with a very good caption, which is 1 woman, 1 phone, and 1 ripple effect. So when Rani, a domestic worker in Bangalore, joined our Digital Sathi program, she had never used a smartphone. 3 months later, she is helping women in her community sign up for online banking, access telehealth consultations, and navigate digital tool with confidence. Very briefly मैंने रानी की story बोल दी. Then I'm saying कि what changed for her? What did how did things work for Rani? So access. The first keyword is access. Second keyword is a space to learn at her pace, and then a support system that saw potential in her. Then we go on to the call to action, which is at NGO so and so. We see digital literacy as a pathway to dignity, agency, and community led change. So, this is building a very strong thought leadership. That is NGO की identity, जो visual and verbal identity है, वो build हो गई है. That they're actually building digital literacy and they see digital literacy as a key enabler for change for many people like Rani. हैशटैग डिजिटल इन्होंने फिर हैशटैग्स भी वैसे यूज किए हैशटैग डिजिटल लिटरेसी हैशटैग सोशल इम्पैक्ट एंड कम्युनिटी एम्पावरमेंट okay I'll take a quick pause over here for 2 minutes and ask you this question if you were in this NGO's place and you were doing the LinkedIn post आप इसमें क्या change करते what additional change would you have made in this post a call to action. That's a great point. I see Poroma has raised a hand.
Probably a quote from Rani.
A quote from Rani. That's a great point. Great point. Yeah. Some reflection. Okay. Naresh ji, you want to elaborate a little on that point? Okay. Personal testimonial as again, the personal testimonial quote from Rani, both are similar as well. So yeah, absolutely. It just adds a lot of personal touch to this entire, entire narrative, entire post. Picture of Rani and she teaching her friends. Absolutely. This would have been even more connecting to the audience. Yeah, our own thoughts on her journey, right? Say how she was disciplined and motivated enough to learn and further upscaling through Rani's word of mouth. Absolutely. So these are some very, very good points that you have identified and that you need to do for LinkedIn. Okay, with that being said, we've learned a lot on how to do the step-by-step process. We now need to get into the process of maybe actually doing it. Okay, so we will give you 10 minutes to do this exercise on your own. This is the exercise, right? And we are keeping it very open for all of you. Think of that one person your work has touched. Someone whose story has stayed with you. This can be a woman farmer. If your organization is working with women farmer, this could be a student, this could be a health worker, a volunteer, or anybody your program has supported in a way that has surprised you, right? Your work has really impacted this person. It could be anybody. Now we would want you to choose one platform, LinkedIn, Instagram, newsletter, website, and draft that message and post it in the chat. So please take 5 to 10 minutes. Really think about this. The story, start with the story. Then you make it into LinkedIn friendly, Instagram friendly, and share it with us. Please take 5 minutes and then we will talk about these examples that you share. Any questions on the exercise? Okay.
We have also noted questions that have been coming through in the chat, and some of them quite relevant. So I think we can take that up after.
Yes, right after this, and when we wrap in the next 5-10 minutes, we'll just
Sure.
Okay, please take like 5 minutes to really think this story through, because I know that after this session, as you go to implement it in your own organization, आपके team members implement करेंगे. It would be very helpful to follow this process. So I'll just quickly share that this is what you can start. Core story से identify करिए अपना purpose, platform persona, and then adapt the story. So I will just also show you that this is how you keep the tone. Tezin, that's a wonderful point you make. I will definitely bring it up over here. Definitely, I think that's a very, very valid point you shared. Tezin, right? Thank you. Please take a moment to post these stories as well, because they will really mean a lot more for us as well as for you, so that we can identify what's working, what's not working in these stories. So going back to the exercise, this is what you need to do. If you don't want to put it in chat, you can also read it out, raise your hand. We will give you an opportunity to share that story. Very meaningful story with all of us. Nareshji, thank you so much for posting this. Very well written, Nareshji. I really like the the tagline that you've put, the heading of the story. I'm assuming that, Nareshji, your story is for LinkedIn. Can you also mention this on the chat? Thank you, Paruma, for sharing this, that you've made it very Instagram specific. Okay. We'll wait for a couple of seconds. It'll be really helpful to decode a couple of these stories to understand what's working, what's not working. If you could please write in on chat and read it out. Okay. I see Bhupendraji has already created a post on this. Wow, that's very quick of you, Bhupendraji. From bricks to books, meet Ananta. Wow.
तो ये हम लोग अभी कल परसों तैयार किया था हमने, तो वो बना हुआ ही था, तो एक बार शेयर कर देते हैं कि कैसा रहता है।
बहुत बढ़िया. Thank you for sharing. That's great.
सब लोग अपने थोड़े रिव्यूज भी दे सकते हैं, और थैंक यू भूपेंद्र जी शेयर करने के लिए.
Yes. I'm really liking the post that you all are making. Please आप अपनी post के साथ अगर platform भी एक बार mention कर देंगे तो बहुत helpful होगा, just to understand, कौन से platform के लिए है तो वो. Just one more minute and then I think we're good to, share a couple of these stories. Okay, some uh, some beautiful stories have come right now. I'll read out a few of them. Or would someone like to read their story for all of us? That'll be great.
I'll actually want to read because I'm trying to put it here and it's quite a long
Please go ahead.
message.
Please go ahead.
Okay. In Kapashera, we celebrated May Day with our garment and domestic workers through the launch of a special issue of our story digest. Megha, a thread cutter in garment factory, opened up about the harsh working conditions. She says,
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead, Vrinda.
okay, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. There is no ventilation, no fans, and no cold drinking water, often causing sweltering heat inside the factory, especially during summers. She and her fellow workers have to work relentlessly without any breaks to meet unrealistic production targets, receiving very little compensation for overtime while developing increasing health issues. However, the work doesn't end here. Women workers, in particular, must do their household chores of cleaning, cooking, as well as when once they reach home. Despite the physical toll, financial insecurity persists, and the burden only grows heavier for workers. The Story Digest creates space for workers like Megha to share their lived realities, highlighting quite strength it takes to navigate harsh working conditions with unfair wages and care responsibilities every single day. Read, reflect, share their stories. Hashtag Workers Month, hashtag Mayday.
Okay. Thanks, Vrinda. I think that's a very well written post also. I'm assuming this is for LinkedIn.
LinkedIn and Instagram both.
Okay. I would be a little cautious of using this on Instagram because it's a long.
Okay.
If you're using this for Instagram, make it brief because generally
Okay.
audience आपके Instagram पे होते हैं, their
Mhm.
attention span is 7 to 8 seconds, right? So assume
Yes.
the average attention span तो आप कम content रखिए, but overall a
Okay.
well written story. On
Mhm.
LinkedIn, I think the only a couple of changes that I would like to make is adding a
Mhm.
heading to this, right? Let's, for example, if you look at the chat, I really like the headings that have been given by Bonnie Bashak ji from Bricks
Mhm.
Books, or for example, what Naresh ji also shared from Behenji to Solar TT. I mean, we have to be a
Mhm.
bit conscious also, so social
Okay.
consciousness in writing these, but just adding a little bit of initial tagline will really.
Mhm.
I really like the way you used keywords in your story. So that was really very, very good. Very well done.
Mhm.
Think about
Mhm.
a little more if you're writing for women's rights. I think add a little more relevant keywords accordingly.
Okay.
Hashtag, hashtag women's right, hashtag women work matters, or something like that.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. Anybody else who would like to share? It's also a good opportunity for you to get some very good inputs also and feedback.
Ji, I just want to give you one feedback on the brochure you have created. It's really good, really catchy. But instead of using the vector image of the girl, you can use a stock real image of the girl, and that will help you get more connection on this brochure. The content is perfect, just the photos. I would suggest that please go to any free stock images website. There is Pexels, there is I Love Stock, and then you can get photos from there.
Thank you.
Okay.
So thank you so much. I think it'll be good to hear one more story, one more before we can, wrap it up and I can open it up for questions.
Can we touch on Piyali in between? Can we touch on Tazim's point?
Yeah, Tazim's point we can definitely share. I'll just quickly wrap up the key takeaways and then we'll go ahead and share this question. Okay, thank you so much. I think I really liked seeing all the stories that you've posted. My only key takeaway over here is whenever you're posting for Instagram, just make sure that the content is brief and you're using the right keywords. When you're writing for, LinkedIn audiences, definitely make sure that there is a call to action and there is some way for the audience to engage with the comments, right? And otherwise, I'm seeing like you all are writing very good keywords. You all are writing very good headlines to the stories, and the stories that you have are extremely good, right? Extremely relatable. So that's a very good point. Um, I'll just take 2 minutes and close this up, and then I will address all of your questions. One is, this is a suggestion from our side that if you are looking at platforms, this is the frequency that you should follow: 1 to 2 posts per week, 3 to 4 posts per week on Instagram. On for newsletters, you can have 1 to 2 per month, and website can be, depending on how much change you want to make, but we can have some monthly updates. But again, this is our suggested frequency where we have seen organic engagement happening. But we understand that there are certain constraints with which you operate. आपके कुछ challenges होते हैं. Sometimes there is one member only working on the content, on the design, सब कुछ एक ही इंसान कर रहा है. So आप अपनी frequency decide कीजिए, but just make sure that जो भी frequency आप decide करते हैं उसको consistent रखें. चाहे वो एक पोस्ट ही हो लिंक्डइन पे, बट उसको कंसिस्टेंट रखना होगा. अदरवाइज द लिंक्डइन का एल्गोरिदम या इंस्टाग्राम का एल्गोरिदम जैसे वर्क करता है, the engagement will significantly dip. And then getting that engagement back again from the audiences will be very, very difficult. Just wrapping up, key takeaways ये था कि one story does not equal one format. आपको formats change करना पड़ेगा, भले ही story एक हो. You have to start with your audience. मेरी audience क्या है और उसके लिए platform क्या choose करना है. Along with the audience, knowing the purpose. Tone plus format plus call to action equals engagement. So ये TFC formula याद रख लीजिए. Repurpose, copy paste नहीं करेंगे. And finally, the more clear you are, that builds a lot of trust. And this is applicable for all audiences. The more authentic, clear, human you are, that will build trust, that will organically build a lot of engagement. We also have some toolkits. We will be sharing these with you also. You can, we've built your platform smart content calendar template. इस session के बाद आपको ये deck और ये template मिल जाएगा. So we're very happy to share that with you.
Piyali, can you also just copy the link and post it in the chat? Yeah, this one.
Yeah, 1 second. Meghna, can you do that?
No. Okay, let me do it from other side. Yeah, go ahead, please. Sure.
And then, of course, as I said, that we are happy to support you in this journey. We can be reached at ITHAS Studios. We are a couple of partners. Meghna, of course, you've interacted with. You've also interacted with me. We also have Rekha, who couldn't join us today, but we are 3 people. We've worked with different organizations: Indus Action, Samarthya, Unifly Collective, Satwa, Seva Bharat. Please reach out if you want. With that being said, I'll leave the floor open for any questions, and happy to address those questions as well.
I think there were quite a few. Thank you so much, first of all. I think some appreciations are also coming in through the chat. I will just take up the questions that had come earlier, and then till then, more people can also share their questions. I think one of the first things that people asked is like why Facebook wasn't included. So maybe we can start with that. I think 2, 3 people had that question. Yeah.
So we don't suggest Facebook as of now because Facebook's audience is decreasing, and also the kind of people on Facebook are moving to Instagram. So if you're still doing Facebook, the content strategy will be same for Instagram and Facebook. But in our opinion, Instagram is more popular than Facebook.
Got it. Also, I mean, we wanted to limit also the number of things they take up, right? So hence we stuck to 4. But of course, many of you have a good base on Facebook, and if it works for you, to continue to use that. Great, thanks for that. I think one more question that has been coming up is about just the newsletter content, right? Like, how do you change it for different donors? And also related to newsletter, one more question was, how many pages do you recommend for a newsletter?
Right. I can come in here and I'll give I will bring in the funder perspective over here. Having worked with funders in CSR, let me give a very brief overview. अगर आपके funders domestic foundation को belong करते हैं, जैसे आपका H&M फाउंडेशन हो गया, जो कि जिन्होंने कॉर्पोरेट फाउंडेशन, जिन्होंने अपना फाउंडेशन शुरू किया है, तो इनके लिए you make sure that you talk about the bigger problem, right? What is the problem your organization is trying to solve for? So that is very important to learn. वहां से शुरू करेंगे जब भी आप कोई न्यूज़लेटर लिख रहे हैं. सेकंड इज फॉर आप अगर कोई फैमिली फिलांथ्रफी हो गई, बहुत सारे फिलांथ्रफिस्ट होते हैं, जैसे अजीम फ्रेमजी फाउंडेशन हो गया, विप्रो फाउंडेशन, बहुत सारे बड़े बड़े ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस होते हैं जिनके लिए 4-5 सेक्टर्स बहुत जरूरी होता है. जैसे अजीम फ्रेमजी फाउंडेशन आजकल फोकस बहुत ज्यादा कर रहे हैं एनवायरनमेंट में, एजुकेशन स्किलिंग में, तो वो आपको थोड़ा सा रिसर्च करना पड़ेगा कि इन फंडर के लिए व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट, या कौन सा थीमेटिक, क्लाइमेट हो गया थीमेटिक, एजुकेशन, स्किलिंग, लाइवलीहुड्स, ये कुछ थीम्स है जो उनके साथ बहुत ज्यादा रेजोनेट करता है. तो ट्राई एंड कीप योर नैरेटिव अराउंड दीज थीमेटिक्स, तो दैट विल रियली हेल्प. Okay, you have to keep your thematics aligned to your funder, right? If your funder is in the thematic of climate, or your thematic is in the your funder is in the thematic of educations and livelihood, start with the big problem statements, because these organizations, big funders, they are really resonated, they are really moved by the kind of problem you're solving. Okay, starting with the big picture, then you go down to small anecdotal evidences of impact and impact at scale. If you are talking to a CSR, if you're talking to a CSR, make sure you also include a lot of project level anecdotes, because for a CSR that is working in Maharashtra, they are really interested in knowing us Maharashtra mein what is the change that's happening. In Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh, if they're working, they want to see what is the project. So they're very interested in knowing how their money is getting utilized. So CSR ke liye, you will have to be a little cautious. So your story will not change, but how you start your newsletter will slightly change. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I hope that answered the question. I think people need access to the content calendar. We will be sharing it over email as well, so don't worry about that. I think there are a few more questions. I'll just quickly get to them. But of course, like, what is the best call to action format in the Indian context? That's one question. Yeah, maybe we can answer that. And sorry, related to that, one more is, what is the best platform to fundraise and the most effective language for this? Not very, like, maybe large questions to answer, but just if there's any.
Call to action one, Meghna, you can take that.
Sorry, what is the question on CTA?
The CTA question is, what is the best CTA format that works in Indian context? And similarly, what is the most effective platform for fundraising? If like, yeah.
Okay, so CTA means that call to action. When somebody is reading your post, what should they do? Do you want them to share a story? Do you want them to donate? Do you want them to give you a feedback? I mean, what are the points you would like to do after somebody reads your story? So CTA is, I mean, there is no format of CTA, but then there should be always a line mentioned what you want the audience to do after they read your content. जैसे आपने Teach for India का example देखा था, Teach for India में they have asked that share one teacher, story of a teacher. That is a CTA that you want the audience to engage after they have read the post. So you can, I mean, there is no format for it, but you can add it in the content.
And sometimes say, for example, you're writing a post and you don't just want an engagement, you want some action in terms of, say, fundraising. LinkedIn में अगर आप कर रहे हैं. So you should put it in the LinkedIn call to action message only, that if this is something that resonates with you, or support many more Ranis by going to the website and donating. So that is also a call to action. There is no fixed structure, but depending on what is the time of the season and what call to action, whether you want them to just like, comment, or you want them to actually go and fund you, that is the call to action message that you should put it in the end of the story. To the question on which is the best fundraising platform, there is no one set answer to this, to be very honest. There's a mix of things that happens. I know that there are various crowdfunding websites also that are available. Keto, Milap, Impact Guru, all of these are there. But a lot of this engagement and fundraising happens through individuals and through networks only. And that individual and network will only happen when you build that credibility for yourself, right? Yourself, your organization, and the work it's doing. Today, the way the society has evolved, a lot of that credibility is via social media. So that's why we're saying that engage in platforms, there will be a lot of organic growth that will happen. Yeah. I wish I could say that this is the platform, go do fundraise in this. Unfortunately,
I
that.
know. Yeah, definitely. I wish we also get this question often, and really wish that we had a straightforward answer, but that isn't. There are just two questions more so far. So one is, of course, so Brinda is asking that for an organization that is trying to create its presence and build an audience, right, and increase the footprint, should the post content tailor to every platform, or choose one platform and try that, like, and keep at it for a while, or choose one platform for different content every time is what she's written. But I think that question is there, right? Like, how many platforms should you focus on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful question. Meghna, maybe she'll be the best person for
Yeah.
ITHAS. Is the impact of narrative thought leadership for ITHAS, and we actively post on different platforms. But yeah, Meghna, go ahead.
Yeah, so as I told you earlier, that your organization needs to be omnipresent at this point of time in this society we are living in. I know it's taxing. I know sometimes you don't want to do Instagram or LinkedIn. You just want to focus on your impact. But I would suggest like minimum 2 platforms you should focus on, and then there is a newsletter and website which you already have. So I suggest going for, because for example, on Instagram, you won't be able to, if you share a behind the scene, you won't be able to share it on LinkedIn. So you need to be specific about what you are going to post and which platform you are going to use. But I would say keep 2 platforms, and then some organizations have newsletters and reports like annually going. So that is not your headache at the moment, and you can just focus on 2 platforms in one go.
Just to add to what Meghna was also saying, that for a new organization that's building identity, it's very, very important to keep your verbal identity intact. So whether you post in Instagram or you post in, LinkedIn, some core elements, core keywords, which is very, very important to your organization, you should do it. Let me give a very specific example. If your organization is working in the space of digital literacy, those are your keywords that you retain in almost Instagram or your LinkedIn also, because that is going to give you the verbal identity. We will remember that verbal identity is very important. वो consistency रखनी पड़ेगी आपको. You'll have to be consistent. So even in ITHAS, we work with mission driven organizations. So a lot of our posts, if you go to our LinkedIn or Instagram, you will see it is around mission driven organizations. Mission driven organization can be anybody. Not for profit bhi ho sakta hai, wo for profit organizations. So that's the core idea of verbal identity. Yeah.
I think this also answers Ashika's one of the first questions, right? You have to maintain consistency across platforms, but we're saying tailor every content. But I think branding, colors, font, and keywords, like Piyali mentioned, these things have to be consistent. But of course, format thoda badlega hi, right? Like, it has to change. So yeah, thanks Piyali for that. Yeah, I think one of the other questions that's coming up, like a few questions around this, is any free resources, apps, website tools that can help in content creation, editing, designing? That's one question. And of course, similarly, people are asking that we are very information oriented. How do we cut down on our content? So while that might require more skill, but that's one thing. And of course, similarly, is there any affordable, easy way to get good reels and video content with a videographer? I think the question also relates to, should you employ someone or hire someone specifically for this purpose or not? And no, Parama, I think we will take it up properly at the end. Right? It was a very important point. So yeah.
Okay, so for the first part, like, is there any affordable or any content creation channels? I would suggest that you can use for Reels, you can use InShot, which is a great app. It has free version and it has templates so that you can make your Reels for Instagram. If you want to create pictures, you want to create brochures, you want to create program details visually, please go to Canva. So these are the two platforms we recommend and we use as well. Before going to InShot and Canva, you need to figure out what is your branding, like what are your color palettes, your tone, your infographics, your designs, everything.
Yeah, and feel free to use a little bit of ChatGPT also. ChatGPT is very good in reducing the content and giving you, free of these resources. Just make sure that you proofread it really and change some of the words and languages, because otherwise it comes out very strongly to the audience reading today that this is a very ChatGPT generated content. So it comes out very well these days. So don't just take it from ChatGPT and copy LinkedIn and Instagram. We will suggest it's a very good starting point and very good tool to give you the narrative, to give you the structure and all. However, you will still have to tweak it and make it more authentic.
Yeah, I just want to add something here for ChatGPT. Like, for example, if you see the example of Boni Basak Towards Future, it looks like it has been written from ChatGPT with the title and the body and the ending. If you see on LinkedIn, a lot of messages they look very same, because ChatGPT use the same language, like from bricks to book, meet Ananta. Very language which is recognizable nowadays, that okay, this is written by ChatGPT, which is great. It's not a problem. I would suggest either take Piyali's initiative, like right after take an understanding from ChatGPT and then work around it, or write your own narrative about the issue and then go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to make it better. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think somebody's also asked about AI tools. So Dipesh, there are multiple, but as Meghna and Piyali are mentioning, it is extremely important to have your own voice, because nothing can replace that, right? So that's one thing for sure. I think there's one new question from Ashika, that when people don't respond to Instagram story polls, right? Even if it's very interesting. So any thoughts on that?
Ashika, I think, I mean, it's with every one of us. Sometimes we just get overwhelmed and we see the story, but we don't reply. I would suggest that you see your Instagram audience, like who are the people who are following you on Instagram, and then create a poll which excites them or which interests them to stop and, give vote. And if you have done that, I mean, it's just one of the days, I guess, because people just get overwhelmed by some platforms someday. So that's okay.
Yeah. I think a lot depends on who it is for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the fact that consistency is the key to engagement. I think that's what we have figured at least.
Yeah, definitely. I think most questions have been answered. I think just in case there are any final thoughts on should you hire a videographer? Is it worth it? Secondly, also for newsletter, we've suggested MailChimp, but if you have any other platforms that you can suggest for creating and sharing, disseminating newsletters to let everyone know. And this is an invitation for everyone in the audience also to share resources that you may use. I know some of you do very well on social media, so do share your resources as well. This is our learning community. Yeah.
So for the videographer question, I would suggest that if you are going for making your documentary style storytelling of your NGO, of your organization, do go for best videographer who can translate your stories into visual, and then that can help you getting funding or getting presence, establishing your presence. If you're talking about reels, I would suggest, like, there are a lot of young people doing reels. You can engage them as volunteers. You can come to us. That's what we do. So yeah, I mean, you can take help of volunteers. You can take help of young people. Everybody knows Instagram, and everybody knows how to make a reel these days, especially the young people.
Would say if you're working in a community, ask the youth there. They will
Yeah,
make it
yeah,
much better than we ever can imagine.
that's true.
And I think that brings us to Tezima's point also, right? Sorry if I pronounce that
Hmm.
name incorrectly, but about how do you bring in more agency of the people whose stories you're sharing, right? And not have that sob story, because everyone leads complex lives. They are not just their problems. Uh,
Yeah.
so what else can be done? And this is an open invitation for everyone, because I think at the sector, we're also dealing with this issue where there is data that shows that when there is like a picture which is heartbreaking is when people click on it. Unfortunately, that is also the data that is there. So I think each one of us is in that struggle. Yeah, this is an open invitation to everyone, and of course, Piyali and Meghna, if you have any thoughts on that, or how do you navigate that when you work with organizations?
I think one of the things that we've seen, at least in my experience working with various organizations, is that we have to be mindful of the kind of words that we choose to associate whilst telling our stories. And I'm saying this very particularly. We often use the word empowered, right? I think really thinking critically about, are we empowering somebody or are we enabling certain things, right? Channels, medium, access. So just being mindful of the kind of keywords that we use to tell about a story has got a very deep impact, right? Deep impact on the audience, deep impact in the way we see our own stakeholders we work with. So that is very, very important. Second is then also talking about when we're sharing these stories. I know, unfortunately, a lot of these stories which are painful or which show that stories of change or impact really work. But talking about that, these are individuals that were already doing a lot of things, and the solution or the intervention just helped them get to from B to C, right? They were already from A to B, they were doing a lot of things. The solutions A helped them to get from B to C. I think that would help in understanding or shifting us away from, having that hero complex or rescue mindset. But I think the shift has to come from ourselves, and then it will translate into how we put it in the narrative. That's my opinion, but happy to hear everybody else's thoughts on this.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kim. Anyone else wants to share from the audience as well? Just want to check. Um, while everyone thinks on this, there is a question from Dipesh on good times or to post on different platforms, which I think is an age-old question, and I don't know if there's an answer for it, but yeah.
Typically, it used to be, but Meghna can come in more. But typically, as far as when I was working with a not-for-profit, we used to post around 8 p.m. in the evenings, because that's usually that's usually the time, 7 to 8 p.m., when people are returning from their work. It may have shifted now, returning from their work, and they are usually on social media platforms. That's when the frequency of these posts really come up. But Meghna can give more insights into this.
Okay, so for Instagram, you can check the insights. You can go to your followers under your settings, and if you go to the followers, you'll see when your followers are active during the day. And you'll find a graph there on Instagram Insights, and you'll find that, okay, a lot of my followers are active at 6 o'clock. So you post just 5-10 minutes before your time. And for LinkedIn, I suggest that everybody opens LinkedIn during their work day. So post in between when you think that we open social media out of boredom after working. So I suggest like 3-4 p.m. and you post that time, and you can take it for other platforms. You can post it late, like 6-7 for Instagram. But for LinkedIn, I suggest you do it in the daytime when everybody's in office checking their LinkedIn.
Great, thank you. And Tezima shared a very nice example of how to flip that narrative, right? And adding to that, I think similarly, I mean, showing also the joyful parts from people we work with. I think that's very important. Not to slot them into particular things. That's very important. And I think most importantly, their voices and the way they want to share with their consent, I think is the best way to work around this. Um, uh, yeah, I think there are more questions that keep coming in, but I think we'll take this one last one. And thank you so much for being such an amazing audience. And thank you so much, Piyali and Meghna, and to ITHAS Studios for the lovely work you do. We'll share their contact details and all the resources that we've been discussing. We'll put it together in an email and share it with you along with the recording of this session. So please do share it ahead. And do fill the feedback form. It really helps us. We do listen, we do take note. If there are any unanswered questions, you can mention that also in the feedback form. And we'll get back to you from Piyali and Meghna. And please do come next month as well with the same enthusiasm. And I think the last question that we can take up is by someone, I can't read the name, but any tips for writing a good blog post? I think it will follow a similar format from what we've been discussing. But if there is any last thoughts on good content in general, we can close with that. Yeah.
Okay, so I would suggest that whatever topic you are picking to write a blog post, go and research about that topic. Read about it, read what all other people has to say. Then after that, jot down the points you want to say, including the points you have already read. And then you can take help of AI, you can take help of Grammarly, apps like that to help you build the blog in a good grammatic and outlining it better. So I would suggest like go do your research, go and search about all the other people who have already written about that topic before.
Yeah, and if the topics are around the work that your organization is doing, that should be the first step as well. It'll build a lot of thought leadership, right? That's what we are aiming for: thought leadership, establishing credibility about the work your organization is doing. And blog is a great way to do that.
Yeah. Just one last thing on our LinkedIn. I mean, we don't just post about what we do. We also are helping mission-driven organizations to get free resources where we build our own carousels based on our own understanding and advices. So you are free to go on our LinkedIn and check that out, download it for yourself, and then use it, implement it, please.
Great. Thank you so much once again, Meghna, Piyali, and everyone here. It is always amazing. And yeah, see you all in the next webinar.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vishali. Thank you so much for everybody for